Guys, it is 2025. Do not spend $1,500 to $2,000 on a welder.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Southern Maryland Squarebodies. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We are going to do a product review. Yeswelder was nice enough to send us a MiG 205 DS Pro and a LYG Q800D helmet. The welder is a 200 amp 5-in-1 multifunction welder. It'll do MIG, lift TIG, aluminum MIG, stick, flux core, and it also has aluminum MIG capabilities. The helmet is a 180-degree view helmet with a true color lens. So let's open them up and see what Yeswelder is working with here. So as you can see, we got it all set up here on the welding cart. Don't take but 2 minutes to get it all, all up to speed here. One thing I really like is how this MIG gun secures to the machine. I have a name brand MIG welder that is about 3 times the price of this machine, and the connection for the MIG gun is much less secure. So right off the bat, I was impressed with that. See, I have got my gas line hooked up to my C25 tank here. When you buy this machine online, they give you the option to add the TIG torch and a regulator. I used my own regulator, and when Yeswelder sent me this machine, they did not send me a regulator or a TIG torch, but that's okay. I have some of my own supplies, but keep that in mind when you're buying the machine. I will say, I think when you purchase this on Yeswelder's website, there is a promotion where they include the TIG torch and the regulator for free. So check that out. You may end up with a pretty nice setup if you go to yeswelder.com and look at their options. So now I'm going to get the camera set up, and we're going to fire the machine up, and we're going to look through some of the options here, play with some of the buttons, flip some of the switches, la-di-da, and see some of the functionality of this welder. The first thing we're going to look at here is weld mode. This button will change between your lift TIG, stick, manual MIG, or synergic MIG settings. Lift TIG, stick, manual MIG, those are obviously, pretty clear what those mean. The synergic MIG is basically a auto MIG feature where it's a self-adjusting function. As you're welding, and there's variations in the material that you're welding, or your welding practices, the machine will make some adjustments along the way to compensate for different things that are happening as you're welding. So that's a great feature. That's a feature that's on my $1,500 welder that is included on this $500 welder. So that is extremely impressive. Another feature that's on this $500 welder that's not on my $1,500 welder is the TIG functionality. Now, as I said, they did not send me a TIG torch, but this machine is capable of doing lift TIG welding. That is impressive for a $500 machine. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate the TIG functionality today because I don't have the TIG torch, but the fact that this machine will do lift TIG at the $500 price point, plus stick, manual MIG, and synergic MIG, that is awesome. So today we're going to be doing some MIG welding. I'm going to push it over to synergic MIG. Then we're going to look at the gas button here. The gas will adjust the material that you're welding as well as what type of gas you're using. So in our case, we're going to be using a mixed gas, welding steel. Of course, we have the wire speed adjustment here. Silky smooth. It's got little detents that keep you from making massive adjustments at once when you're trying to fine tune. You see it looks like it goes through the options very well. And with the Synergic MIG setting, you see as you adjust your wire speed, it's adjusting the voltage too. So that's, you know, one of the things that's beneficial for somebody that may be starting out welding and they're not 100% comfortable with setting up a machine. This machine will kind of help you, it'll hold your hand, so to speak, to get you started with welding. So that's a great thing for a home garage DIYer, little welding experience, type application. This machine will help you get started, and that is awesome. So, then we got our voltage adjustment here. So I think this is just a correlation to where the voltage is going to be in relation to the wire speed, because it's not doing a true voltage setting. It's looks like it's just doing a parameter. But that's a nice little setting there. That's going to be very helpful to you home welders who maybe you have a project like me where you're doing rust repair on an old truck, and you bought a welder just because you needed a welder and you're not really a welder by trade. The machine's going to help you get started there. Up here we have the wire diameter button. It's pretty obvious what that does. It changes, the settings as far as what wire diameter you're using. You have 023, 030, and 035. And naturally, when you're using different diameter wires, you're going to have different settings that you're going to be required to use. So the fact that it auto adjusts based on the wire diameter you're using, that's great. That is something else that is super helpful for you DIYers who are just getting started. And again, you're not comfortable setting up a welder. The welder does include a chart that will get you in the ballpark of where you need to have your welder settings. But when it's this simple, where you set your wire diameter and your feed rate, the machine does the rest for you. That is super awesome. And of course, down here we have the spool gun. Turn that on or off if you're going to be using a spool gun. This inching button is when you put your spool of wire on there. Of course, you got to feed it through to the end of your MIG gun. So you just hold that button down and it'll feed your wire without you having to hold the trigger on your MIG gun. So, that's something that's just very helpful when you're, say you were welding some thin sheet metal and you were using 023 wire, and now you're going to go, you're welding 1/4 inch material and you switch to a 030 wire. Feeding your wire in faster without having to hold your gun and stuff, that's extremely helpful. So nice feature there. You may be able to hear it is not super loud. Obviously, I don't have a load on it, so it's not working hard right now. It's pretty much just idle, but the fan is super quiet. I think the fan at idle on this welder is probably equivalent to the idle fan on my $1,500 welder. So, it's like everywhere you look, every step of the way, this machine is as good or better than my $1,500 little bit more professional welder. So if you're a DIYer at home and you're looking to tackle a project, you just bought an old truck and you're trying to do some rust repair on it, buy a Yeswelder. Buy this MiG 205 DS Pro, because you will not be disappointed. It will get you straight and it will help you do what you need to do for a fraction of the cost. All right, guys, now I'm going to show you how to set up your wire spool for MIG welding. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to open up this side door here and take the nut off. Right here it says tighten is this way, so it's reverse thread. Take that plastic nut off of the roller. And then you got a little nipple here. Your spools have these holes. Line them up. There you go. You'll feel it catch. Tighten your nut. Not super tight, but snug it up. Right here, I'll demonstrate it for you, is where your roller is. Loosen this thumb nut. Slide the roller off. And these rollers are stamped with what diameter wire they're intended for. So make sure you're using the right roller for the right wire. If I can get it up on there, there we go. Operator error, not the machine's fault. And tighten up your thumb nut. So take your spool of wire Hold on to it, because otherwise it's going to come apart. It's going to unwind and go crazy on you. So keep a hold of your wire, feed it through this little spring area here, feed it through there. It's going to come up out of here and then guide it in there where it's going to go into the MIG gun. Feed some up in there. This is a secondary roller that keeps tension on the wire. Stick that down there. Give it a little bit of tension. You don't want too much tension on this roller, because it'll lead to issues with feeding. So once you have all that straight, you're going to take your MIG gun. Make sure you guys can see it. Take your tip off, or the shield here. Take your shield off. This is the wrench that they give you. Take your tip off. Use the wrench, loosen the tip up, and take your tip off. And drop it on the floor like I did. So somewhere else that you're going to look and make sure that you have the right size piece for the wire you're using is this tip. This tip is stamped with 030. So that designates that this tip is designed for use with 030 wire. So now that I got the tip and the shielding gas cover off of the MIG gun, make sure your machine's powered on. Make sure your gas is turned off just in case. Now I'm going to reach around front here and hit this inching button, and that's going to make the spool start feeding. And there you have it. It is feeding wire, and you'll feel it. It's coming. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. I was off by about a second, but that's okay. The wire is fed now. Super easy. Go ahead and put your tip back on. Stick it on the gun. Start it. Start the threads. Snug it up. It ain't got to be super tight, but snug it up a hair. Put your shield back on. Take and cut your wire. You've got about ½ an inch or so sticking out. And you are now ready to weld. Check that out. How easy is that?
Also want to point out the helmet, the Yeswelder helmet. It is super comfortable. Headband up here. There's a headband in the back. I have a Hobart brand helmet that's pretty much the same price as this helmet, but the Hobart helmet is not 180 degrees. It doesn't have true color, and it has a little headband up here, but it's hard plastic all the way around. It's not super comfortable. It's heavier than this helmet, so far I like the helmet. We're going to see how it performs with welding. Guys, it is 2025. Do not spend $1,500 to $2,000 on a welder. It is unnecessary. You do not have to do it if you are a at-home do-it-yourselfer. If you are doing small projects in your home garage, MIG 205 DS Pro from Yeswelder will take care of anything you need. That is a great welder. It performed so well. It performed just as well as my $1,500 welder. Throwing the helmet all together, this is a $600 package, and I had pretty much the same welding experience, actually a little bit better, because the Yeswelder helmet is better than my other helmet. So for $600, I had a better welding experience than my $1,600 setup. You can too. And the great thing is, if you are a at-home do-it-yourselfer and you're not familiar with welding, the MIG 205 DS Pro will help you get started. It will hold your hand, and it will make you look like you know what you're doing, even if you don't. Because let's face it, I have an office job. I am not a welder, but the MIG 205 DS Pro helped me, and it will help you accomplish your tasks and finish your projects and do it well. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, like and subscribe. Go to yeswelder.com. Check out all of their products. They have welders, plasma cutters, MIG only, TIG welders. They have helmets. They have consumables. They have all kinds of stuff available to you for a great price. Check them out, yeswelder.com. For now, we're going to call it a day. Thank you for watching. See you next time.